Starting out in business for the first time can be daunting. There's so many things to think about. It can be really overwhelming. And one of the reasons people look at a franchise opportunity, a way of starting their first business, is they've got a proven model. They're involved in somebody that's done something before and have actually figured it out. And then they've got the support and the backing behind them. And today I want to talk about the support element because it is so important. And I know lots of people that have got involved with certain businesses where the support was really lacking, and that's the difference between success and failure. So when you're looking at franchise models, really do dig down on the support because it can mean all the difference. In my experience, and this is no reflection on anybody in particular, but in my experience, most people massively underestimate how hard it is to run a business. And the reason they find it hard and the reason they underestimate it is because they've been employed before. And when you've got a job, if you don't turn up to work, then you're not going to get paid. And so you've got this huge incentive to make sure that you get the work done. When you start a business and you all of a sudden you are your own boss, all of the things that you would normally do as an employee start to become a little bit more difficult because you've got so much more to think about, and it becomes more difficult to be accountable to all of those things. This is when the support really kicks in, because the support can give you the accountability to keep you on track. And it does make it a bit like having a boss, but of course you are still your own boss. And having the right kind of accountability, the right kind of support with the model means that you then can find success much quicker than if you have to figure it out yourself. I know this from experience. When I first set up my business, I got to be honest, I did not have a clue what I was doing. I was highly motivated because I had a family to feed and I knew I had mortgage payments to pay. And so I worked really hard, but my systems and processes were next to none. I didn't really have a coach or a mentor. I didn't really have any kind of support other than my dad, who was a great inspiration to me. But the truth is, I winged it for the first few years and I got loads of stuff wrong. It was much harder than it needed to be. And in fairness, if there'd have been a franchise opportunity around like the one that I'm involved in now, it would have made my life so much easier. I would have got there so much quicker. And that's kind of what motivated me to set up Blam, because I see so many entrepreneurs, particularly in the agency space, struggling to scale because they haven't got that template, that formula, and then the support to back it up to help them scale, to help them get through these roadblocks that you're naturally going to achieve or you're naturally going to come across on your entrepreneurial journey. And it applies to any kind of business model, really. If there's a formula that's been proven, applying it with accountability is going to get you there much, much quicker. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the kind of support, because the thing that we've put in place with Blam that is absolutely fundamental is one-to-one support. Because I find that sometimes you can give people support communities and people get embarrassed to put themselves out there in the community. They get embarrassed to post. They get embarrassed to put up their hand. You get things where we do clinics, for example, and sometimes people feel a bit conscious when they've got other people watching them. They don't want to be seen as somebody who's not doing the right thing, or they might be concerned about saying the wrong thing in front of their peers. So when you first start out, my belief is one-to-one support and one-to-one accountability is the most powerful way of making progress quickly. Because when you've got a one-to-one coach that you trust, you can tell them anything. They're not going to judge you. And there's nobody looking over their shoulder who's judging you as well in your mind. And then once you get a bit of traction, if you wanted to join the groups, and group coaching can be really powerful too when you've got a bunch of people who are all in the same space, that's fantastic. But the thing that can hinder people when they first start is that fear of what other people might think of them when they join the groups. So look for one-to-one support. It's really, really key. And it helps you get past some of those barriers that you might have in your own mind about that fear of what other people might think. Support is fundamental to your success. And I would even go as far as to say that even when you find success, you still need that support. I've literally just come out of a meeting with one of my mentors who helps me on a weekly basis, supporting me in my business. And having that backup, having another set of eyes, somebody with absolute decades of experience of entrepreneurial knowledge, apply their thinking and their thoughts to my business is still really, really key to what I do. And it never stops being the case, no matter how far in business you go. If you look at Tony Robbins, famous business owner, he's still got a coach. All the top entrepreneurs will use coaches and use accountability and support to help them grow. And that makes it even more relevant for you to do it when you first start out. So if there's any other subjects like this that you'd like me to talk about in my 2 decades of entrepreneurial coaching and learning, helping hundreds of people start their own business, just send me a message below or comment on this video and let me know what you think, and let me know what kind of support and accountability you think is relevant in your business. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.